How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Liberty Hour, streaming through Spreaker Studio and the A2 Jack YouTube channel. We are back here with Michael, Kasey, and Ricky, and Michael was just starting to talk a little bit about Ross. Go ahead and continue with your point.
Yeah, so Ricky was asking, what we do with the return clothes. All we do is we put like a little piece of paper on it that says the date that it came in and the date that we could put it back on the floor, which is like 3 days. So I believe that's because if it has COVID on it or whatever, that it will die or not be infected anymore after the quarantine period. So we just keep the clothes in the back until the 3 days are up.
Yeah, White House Black Market, we got a new guideline saying that because when we open back up, people are going to be allowed to try on clothes, and it's going to be only allowed 4 people in the fitting room at a time. But one of our new rules was that we have to let the clothes sit for 48 hours before we put it back on the rack, but now they changed it to 24 hours, so I don't know, that was an interesting change, but I don't know why they switched to that, probably because it's too long and our store is too crazy for that.
Gotcha.
Do you guys have like a lot of clothes coming in over there, Kasey?
Yeah, we I've been working with 3 managers, and I'm the only associate that's been back, so basically I went from not working at all to working. I started on Saturday. I worked 5 days in a row, 6-hour shifts from 12 to 6 every single day. And for the first couple of days, it was super boring because we didn't have anything to do because there was no shipment. So basically, we just cleaned the store and try to organize as best we can. But the past 2 days, we got over like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new clothes. Like we had to hang up we unpacked like 10 boxes of new clothes. We have to hang them all up, and we have to steam them too. So every clothing item we get in the store, we have to steam it. So I'm usually the steam person, so I unboxed everything. I started steaming, and I spent about 6 hours steaming, or 5 hours, when we do packages like that big. And usually I can only get about like 80 pieces of clothing done within that 5-span hour. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
Is that like what most of your day has been, though? Because I remember earlier in the show you brought up that like only a couple people even do the curbside pickup, and you guys are just pretty much hanging out in the store doing work.
Yeah, that's
like most of your day just steaming?
Wait, what'd you say?
Is like most of your like work day so far just like steaming all the clothes that's just piling up?
Yep, I've just been steaming. I've been cleaning and mopping the floors. Literally, steaming is probably the busiest we get in the store because, like no one's allowed in the mall, so I've been the only one actually at the store who's been doing the curbside delivery, so my managers will get the phone call, and then I'll go out with like gloves and a mask, and I give them their clothes, and we have like a rule where I have to get their ID and see their ID, and then I just show them what's in the bag to make sure it's the right order, and then they open their trunk for me. Well, they pop it from the inside of the car, and then I open the trunk, place the clothes in there, and then they go. But we only have had 3 of those, and that was in the span of the 5 days, and that takes, like less than 2 minutes, so it's been nice to get the hours though, at least, because usually I only work 4 hours a day, so it's been a change, like 4 hours a day 3 times a week, so it's been a big change going from that small amount of time to 6 hours a day 5 times a week. So I want to get them hours though, get that check.
I got you.
I got a couple of news updates from my correspondent. So Anchor Jackson has got a couple updates for you guys. In Louisville, in relation to this whole issue surrounding the George Floyd case, Louisville, Kentucky, they have shielded cops and tear gas has been used on protesters there. 500 National Guard have been called into Minneapolis, Minnesota. Also, Minneapolis police just released about a half hour ago the 911 call that led to the encounter with George Floyd. I will have to check this out sometime after the podcast, but there are a couple updates for you guys. I was going to say, I'm glad that was a good conversation we had on the whole, things about coronavirus possibly having to shut down again, and a lot of good information you guys brought up about where you work and stuff. One other thing, and the reason that I brought up that issue is because the USA just surpassed 100,000 deaths in this country. We're at 103,000 deaths. Warnings that it could spike yet again. There was a story that came out in Fox News actually. It says California may be reopening too quickly. State health official warns. So I'll read a tiny bit of this, and then I'll get into my last issue here. The California health official who issued the country's first shelter-in-place order has expressed concern over a possible surge in coronavirus cases there and says the state may be reopening too quickly. Speaking to the Santa Clara Board of Supervisors on Tuesday, Dr. Sarah Cody, health officer for Santa Clara County, said she was troubled by the state now allowing gatherings of 100 people for various purposes, such as church gatherings, and noted that the pace at which the state is reopening at large is very concerning. Her remarks came after the Department of Public Health earlier this week announced its statewide reopening of places of worship. On Tuesday, state health officials also announced that counties that have attested to meeting the criteria for accelerated reopening, such as Placer County for Stage 3, can begin to reopen hair salons and barbershops under certain restrictions as well, including the mandatory use of face masks. So that is one of the big things right there between those two bits of data, why I think that it could lead to another spike, and we're already seeing issues or some precursors that may occur. Go ahead.
Do you know, in terms of like the death rate and stuff like that you talked about earlier, is it all mixed across the United States, or is it like mostly western and eastern side, or
it's mostly in more urban areas? So, for example, New York City has a lot of the deaths.
Yeah.
California, I think, has
like LA probably.
Yeah, that's majority of the mainly urban areas have a lot of it. And you know, there's also the whole issue that I think we talked about last time. We may have not about COVID deaths being counted as COVID when in reality it could be something else. But I also have an issue on the other side of that aisle, such as in places like Russia, where they are like fourth most cases in the world, right around 390,000 cases, but they say they only have like 4,300 deaths. They're undercounting deaths there, and I think there's issues of that at other places as well, maybe even in cases like the United States. So I think that can actually happen on both sides of the aisle, and we're seeing issues in data as well. But it's just we'll see how it plays out. That's pretty much what it's going to come down to on the issue. One final thing I wanted to talk about, and this is not just if you guys have done it during coronavirus, but your thoughts on it in general, just because it was something I was thinking about, because a lot of people, as coronavirus has happened, I mentioned, you know, restaurants are not open for dine-in, but we have seen a growing number of takeout and things like Grubhub, which actually have seen the most usage of the app in these last 90 days because of coronavirus. I wanted to get your guys' thought. Do you guys use stuff like delivery through Grubhub or like DoorDash and stuff like that? If you do, what do you like about it? If you don't, why not? Just kind of like, do you guys use, what's your thoughts on like apps for it like Grubhub and DoorDash? What's your guys' thoughts?
It's so goddamn expensive. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. But Ricky or Kasey, what about you guys?
Kasey?
I don't really use it that much. Sometimes Michael and I use Postmates, but I think we've only done it like 2
when I'm really
times.
lazy.
When he's really lazy, he doesn't want to get food, or if I'm really lazy, I don't want to get food. But it is really expensive. I mean, the food has always been good. Sometimes we'll get like, what do we get, like Mel's, IHOP? But it comes out really good. Like, it's worth it if you're craving something in particular that you don't want to go out to eat with. But I don't have an issue with it besides it being a little pricey.
Yeah, I definitely get it. I think it's personally, I don't know. For me, especially if it's closer, it's better to kind of get takeout than it is to, like, I've even gone all the way to Wingstop to get wings there and then, like, bring it back or whatever, than do, like, DoorDash and stuff. Just because of it being a little more expensive in that respect, I obviously get why so many people are doing it. To me, the quality, it's not like it's too far off, but I definitely have noticed one time when I got Mel's, I think through DoorDash, that it wasn't as good. I get it if you really like a restaurant and it's a little far away, and obviously there's no really place you can eat it, as there's like nothing that's really open. But I think most of the time, I at least I think it's better to just get takeout and get it there yourself than have to rely on somebody and then they don't know like the directions to your house. Like one time I was over at Darren's house, and I think that was the time I got Mel's, and the driver was all confused to where the location was, even though it has the goddamn address in there. And it was just stupid. But I think that there are a lot of times where it does work well. I don't know. I just think takeout's probably a little better in certain cases than delivery. That's just me. What about you, Ricky? Have you really ever used the app before, or any of those apps?
I'm like, that doesn't really apply to me, so no, I've never tried using it for the purpose of not wanting to spend money on delivery, because I don't mind driving to places. But the weird thing is, like, I know a lot of places are now doing free delivery too. Like a lot of other places that don't normally do it. I know Wild Wings does it, Domino's does it, like a lot of the pizza, even Little Caesars I think started doing it too, which is a little weird.
Okay.
That threw me off. But like, I don't use the free delivery stuff either, because for the most part, I still just eat at home, whatever my mom cooks or whatever. Whenever I go to grocery shopping with my dad at
Well, your
Costco,
mom
and everybody's
is
wearing
cooked.
masks. Well, yeah, that's why. So I don't really find the
Up
need
there.
to use.
All right. Well,
So-
I actually thought of one other thing I wanted to ask you guys, and kind of back to a semi-randomish question again, but obviously with everything that's reopening, you're going to be seeing a lot of more people that are going to be doing like tourism and probably going on trips at least to where they can drive to. And one question I have for you guys is related to trips. What is one thing, the number one thing that you would say is on your bucket list that you'd like to do once all this, is gone, everything is fully safe again? What's one thing on your bucket list that you would like to do? Anybody can feel free to start on that.
I'll go. Okay, I'll go. One of the things that are on my bucket list, I really want to go to Alaska and see the Northern Lights. That's one of my biggest things that I want to do before I die. So.
I dig it. I like it. What about you, Michael?
If I, off the top of my head,
Yeah.
get my own place, baby. Good turn up.
Well, you're already making strides in that, so congratulations on that front.
Almost there.
Is there any like place that you would kind of like to visit or anything like that before you pass away or anything?
Any place I'd like to visit before I pass away?
Yeah, like in particular.
I don't know. New Zealand.
Okay, I like it. I actually have a half brother that lives there. That's cool. Ricky, what about you?
Bro, so like after this quarantine, first off, I want to go back to Idaho, just go visit family because I miss Idaho. It's been like 2 years since I've been able to go, and I was dead ass planning on going since January. I was like, all right, during spring break or during whenever I'll go, but like right around spring break is when this whole thing started, and everybody's like, nope, we're closing everything. You can't travel, you can't do. So that sucked. So I want to go to Idaho for sure, but long-term goal, I want to go to Germany, dude. I want to go to Germany because that's where like the electronic music is big over there, and they throw a lot of festivals over there. And I'm really hoping. I feel like I'll still be into EDM by then, especially if like DJing as a side hobby like takes me further. I really want to go to Germany just because it'd be so fun to go to all the festivals and just
Oh yeah.
hang out around other people over there, like Aaliyah's people, you know. That'd be sick.
All right, I like it. Yeah, one of my top things. I have actually a few things I would like to do. I think I mentioned to you guys before. I want to go on the European soccer trip, which is London, Madrid, Paris, Munich, and why can I not think of the other one right now? I said London. Okay, so I've got England, Spain, Italy, France. Juventus. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Juventus. Those are the 5 things I would like to do. The 5 teams I would like to see in a European soccer trip before I pass away. That'd be really cool. Another thing I'd really like to do that I thought of actually pretty recently that I think would be really cool is to check out all of Route 66, the original Route 66. I think that'd be a really cool trip. It'd probably take like 10 days if you really wanted to see everything, but I watched like probably about a month ago, like about a 2-hour, 3 weeks ago, about a 2-hour clip of this guy and his dad who went from California to Chicago, and just really, really cool vibes, and I think that'd be really something cool to do. So, but that's just me, and I don't know. I just think that'd be something really cool. So,
What's up?
yep. All right, well, that's going to do it for us here at the Liberty Hour. I'd like to thank my guests, Ricky, Michael, and Kasey, for being on. We're actually going to have another show tomorrow with my friend Miles, who will be on as well. We'll be talking about a lot of stuff also related to COVID reopenings and the George Floyd case as well, and a whole heck of a lot more with him tomorrow. But I'd like to thank you guys for being on. Everybody else just tuned in. Stay tuned in as I'm going to play a song before I go on break, and then I'm going to talk about a couple other things before I end the show. But thank you very much, Ricky, Michael, and Kasey, for being on. You guys were great. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
sir.
for having us.
Thanks.
Of course.
Thanks for having me for like the 90th time.
Of course. All right, guys. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with more of the Liberty Hour. Stay tuned.